Dear Toastmasters, dear guests, let's start this meeting by joining me for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm very happy to report that Kathy Moore is or has delivered our charter documents at the convention that took place this weekend. Apparently it is a tradition that when you go to the convention you are allowed to deliver them in person. So that is very nice, and everything is really en route to be chartered, which is a great achievement for all of us. Thank you so much. The team tonight will consist of the Toastmaster Jerry Perkins, who has decided to do that last minute. A shout out also to Michael Horns, who decided to be a speaker last minute. Our word, art counter, and grammarian is going to be Craig Sprout, and the general evaluator role will be fulfilled by Harlan Pickett. The timer is Michelle, if she comes in time. If not, can someone else?
I can double up as timer.
Okay.
I'm just going to volunteer, Mindy.
All right.
That's right.
The irony of the timer not showing up on time.
There is a story there.
Get several speeches out of that.
And I think that makes a whole team for a successful meeting. I would now ask Jerry to come up to the lectern so that he can MC our beautiful meeting.
I'm from the old school, and I like to have a piece of paper in my hand, but I do have the current information on my phone, so you may see me switch it back and forth. This is like a security blanket. I'll just hold it thinking I've got to make notes on it. But I do have the current one here. Oh, I lost it. I have to ask, I guess I don't have to ask, because as the Toastmaster, I can run the meeting however I see fit. So I'm going to introduce our word, art counter, and grammarian to get the word of the day, so we can go around the room and get introductions. Great.
Today's word of the day is acumen. The definition of acumen is the ability to make good, quick judgments. You often see it paired with business acumen. He had good business acumen, but it can be used with almost anything. For example, Warren Buffett has great financial acumen, or you might say someone has great political acumen. If you're looking for good judgment and quick decisions in your personal life, I don't have that acumen. So I am the bad example of that word. I'll be listening for your use of that word as you incorporate it in your prepared and impromptu speeches, and I will give you imaginary points, and you can take home the prize at the end of the day. And also in my role as counter, I will be counting ahs, ums, likes, so's, and those crutch words that we all fall back on in our communication. And as grammarian, I'm going to keep an ear out for maybe some things we could work on, but I'm also going to keep an ear out for things that we do well. And at the end of the meeting, I'll report on all those things.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As I said, we'll go around and do introductions. I like to look around and see where I'm going to start, and I'll make eye contact, and those that aren't making eye contact, I'll start there. That's kind of my tradition. So let's practice our acumen in introductions. 15 to 20 seconds. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Mindy, will you kick us off?
I was making eye contact for the record. Just, everybody likes to pick on me. I am Mindy. I am the Executive Director of Texas Tri-County Chamber, which I have to use acumen on a daily basis with that group because they like to challenge me and give me new ideas and new direction daily. So Thank you all for that.
Very good.
My name is Andrea Ferguson, and I have to use good acumen on my job with Shanks Web Development because I'm a content writer. So I have to build content and make sure that I'm writing well, and that's what I do.
Very good. Well,
I'm Donna Louder, and I'm the executive assistant here for the city of Live Oak. I handle economic development on a basis, and planning and zoning and board of adjustments. Michael hired me 21 years ago when he came to work here, and he was relying on my acumen of all my knowledge.
very good.
My name is Michael Hornis, and I'm the Assistant City Manager for the City of Live Oak. I have to have pretty astute political acumen to navigate all of the ins and outs that go with working in city government, dealing with the politics, dealing with the employees, dealing with the public. And so I love what I do, and I'm brand new here, and I have not been here for 21 years.
I have to admit, I'm trying to use my poker face up here, but my acumen told me she's lying. Let's go back over here, Teresa.
Oh, sure. Hi, I'm Teresa Hernandez. I work for Blue Bonnet Motors. I do the business development. So I also do employee relations, customer relations, community relations, which requires amazing amounts of being acumen. I didn't even use that in the right word, but you know what I meant. So don't knock that one. I corrected myself already.
And use it a couple times and you're correct.
Yeah, thank you.
That's well played.
Hello, everybody. I'm John Taylor. I am chief head cook and bottle washer with my new company that I've started this month. But in my past, I've been a barber. I've been a pastor. So my acumen has been all the way across the board, from one-on-one to being able to publicly speak and speak with folks of varying backgrounds. So I've had to use that to leverage. At times, to leverage, a better income for myself and others. So, I'm here.
Welcome, John.
Thank you.
How you doing? Sean Adams with Care Real Estate. I help people buy, sell homes. I also educate them to let them know where they're at, or if it's something that they want to do. I have to use a good acumen when I'm negotiating contracts and talking to people, about their house. So, again, Sean Adams.
Hi, Sean.
My name is John Peterson. I'm a visitor today. I know this guy, Sean Adams, from El Paso, Texas. We've been besties since 3rd grade. Originally from El Paso, like I said, I live in Dallas, Texas right now. I went to go buy a house yesterday in Houston, because I also do real estate investing, show people how to flip, all that kind of stuff. So in my industry, we definitely need to know how to, is it acumen, the word? So yeah, we're negotiating all that kind of fun stuff. So glad to be here as a visitor.
All right.
Thanks for being here.
My name's Don Nance. My acumen said to come here tonight because I'm trying to break the insane pattern of the acumen that I once used to try a new acumen of a new area to look in. So I used my visual acumen for directional acumenal work in arriving at this location tonight. And my visual acumen said, pull in at 8001. Wrong building. So my sense of direction acumen said, ask the first person I saw who was beating on a drum, and he said, you're in the wrong place. It's over yonder. I said, my acumen for yonder says that's a fur piece away. So here I am in my directional acumen, finding the right place to exercise my business acumen. I'm done.
Well done.
Well, with my extensive speaking acumen, I'm not even going to try to get past Don's awesome job of using the word acumen, because he just killed it. I'm telling you, that's a great job. If you don't know me already, my name's Harlan Pickett. I am an insurance broker, but here I'm just Harlan. I'm here to become a better speaker, to really be able to, when things hit me from any way, shape, or form, I want my acumen as a speaker to take over and not skip a beat. That's what I'm here to do.
All right.
Good evening, my name is Shankar Poncelet and I run a small web development and online marketing agency. I also serve on the board of the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce, which is the organization that sponsors this amazing club. I had to use all my organizational acumen to make this happen, and I am the happiest person today and in the future because of this club. Thank you so much for being part of it.
Thank you.
Craig, please.
Well, as I've already mentioned, I'm Craig Sprout. I'm your WAG tonight. I did a project this weekend where I was assigned a movie to make in 48 hours. So that tested my time management acumen, my filmmaking acumen, my herding cats acumen, as well as timeliness acumen. So I think I've caught up to John now. And
Well, you are keeping
since
track.
I'm keeping track, it's likely I'll win anyway. Thank you.
All right, so the last one in gets to be the first speaker.
I deserve it. You're gonna do great, don't
The
worry.
word, yeah. The word of the day is acumen.
Okay.
I'll let you think about it for a minute. I wear multiple hats, and two of them are way high on my list today. They have invited me to be the public relations director or manager for District 55 Toastmasters. I need some acumen in social media. And I thought, I know some people who could help me with social media. And I'm going to use that acumen to help me do a good job of public relations for all of District 55. And we'll do it internally here at the same time, hopefully. I'm also, some of you may know, I'm on the school board at Schertzville Universal City. And as of 5 o'clock today, nobody signed up to run against me, so it looks like I've got 4 more years. And mixed emotions up here. A little sidetrack. When I was running, my neighbor across the street said, "Do you know what you're getting yourself into?" This was 4 years ago. I said, "Sure, I do. I go to a couple meetings and it's all good." He says, "Blink twice if you're just doing this for show, and I won't vote for you. But we can talk, and it'll look like you're campaigning. Just blink twice, and I'll know not to vote." Now I understand what he was talking about. It's a lot busier than I expected. But today I am the Toastmaster. I'm going to get one more introduction, and then I'm going to kick off the meeting. Your turn.
Hello, I'm Justine Gonzalez. I own an insurance agency, Farmers Insurance. And I just said that word. And what else did I say?
Talk a little bit about acumen.
Okay. Well, I really wanted to just share the importance of a good education. I know there's a lot of educators in here, but I'm in a career where they don't require to have education. But I am really thankful for my education that I got while I was at Texas Tech, because during my graduate program for my MBA, it really helped me with my business acumen, and it really helps allow me an opportunity to help fellow business owners. So I'm just really thankful for that.
Very good, thank you. Our first speaker tonight is going to do her icebreaker. Teresa Hernandez is going to tell us all about herself, or at least enough that we'll know what we need to know. Wait a minute, time out. I need to get the general evaluator up here to talk a little bit about his role before I kick off the meeting, or the speaking role.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So as I understand my role as the general evaluator is I am going to explain what the other evaluators do, and at the end of the meeting, then I am also going to give an overall evaluation of this meeting, and also call on our timekeeper. I guess you're going to be that too, right, Craig?
No.
No,
Did you switch that?
Mindy. Oh, Mindy? Okay, Mindy's going to be our timekeeper, and call on our timekeeper to also give us her timing for everyone speaking. So, first of all, our first speaker will be Teresa, and Teresa's evaluator will be Andrea. Okay, Andrea? Teresa, get ready. Good. All right. Our next evaluator will be Donna. Okay, and Donna will be evaluating Michael. All right, good deal. And then as our timekeeper, Mindy, will you please give everyone a little bit of an idea of what you're looking for on the times that are required, and then whatever kind of signal you're going to give folks to let them know the different parts of what they're doing there.
I have zero idea.
Okay.
Y'all voluntold me.
Yes.
I'm gonna read what it says though. The speakers, I'm looking for
All
4
right,
minutes.
4 to 6 minutes.
4 to 6 minutes. So I've downloaded the app for Toastmasters. So it's gonna be the.
At 4, the green light will go on. If not, you say green or signal green or something.
Okay.
At 5, it turns yellow, meaning you're halfway. 6, it turns red, meaning you got 30 seconds to wrap it up.
Got it. Good. And then the table topics will be 1 to 2 minutes, and the evaluators 2 to 3 minutes.
All right, great. Anyone have any questions? Awesome. Then Jerry, take it back over, buddy.
Well done. Very well done. In pathways, you start off, even in the old method, you started off in the traditional method with an icebreaker speech. Tonight we get an icebreaker speech from Teresa Hernandez, and we're going to learn what she wants to tell us about herself. Help me welcome Teresa Hernandez. You can go back there if you want, you can stand in front if you want, wherever you're comfortable.
I'm okay. All right, I think I'm okay. I don't
Good.
know. Okay. Hello, Toastmasters. My name is Teresa Maloney Hernandez. The whole thing would be Teresa Joan Maloney Hernandez, if you ever want to know that. It was funny when I talked to Shankar about trying to speak tonight. I thought, what in the world am I going to speak about? And then I thought, what is going through every one of our minds when we're about to figure out what in the world we're going to say that makes anybody want to even listen to me? So I was going, do I give them the Facebook version of me? We all know what that is. I golf, I fish, I do a lot of different things. I eat, like everybody else does on Facebook. Or do I give you the Planet Fitness version, which is amazing. That is a judgment-free zone, correct? That I will not give you tonight. So you're fair enough. One of the things that I truly believe about is branding. So does Coca-Cola, so does Nike, so does McDonald's, so does the city, so does everybody believe in branding. But what about branding ourselves? So I was in a seminar a couple years ago, and it was such a great, powerful seminar about branding an individual. And what that basically means is, when I'm out of the room, what are you saying about me to describe me? It's kind of powerful because that is how you've branded yourself. So instead of me talking about me, I thought I'd let some other people talk about me. And I've gone to them and I've asked them, when I'm not in a room, how would you describe me? My sister said spontaneity is the first thing that comes to mind. I'm thinking, all right, I can take that. Spontaneity is the quality of being spontaneous. So basically my sister gave me a very good accolade and said that I was spontaneous. I'll take that. My husband said that I'm a warrior. Like, me, never. I run away from spiders. There's no way I'm a warrior. And he said, you have weathered so much, and you're out there every day fighting for what you believe and who you are and your friends and your family. I'll take that. So I'm a warrior, a spontaneous warrior, but I'll take it. I went to a couple coworkers, and they just happened to be within ears drop of each other. And I asked one, I said, how would you describe me if I wasn't in the room? She goes, you're my go-to person. If I want to get something done, you're the person that's going to get it done. I thought, wow, that's pretty powerful. Another coworker said, you're controlling. I said, good Lord, what does that mean? It's okay if it's negative, but tell me what that means about me. And he goes, no, he goes, you don't take anything from anybody. If you're on a mission, you're gonna get it done. I said, oh, that's controlling. I'll take it. I thought that was pretty good. I went to my boss, which was kind of crazy because I didn't think he'd play along with my little game, which was just a few hours ago that I'm doing all this. Nothing like being spontaneous. So I said, if I weren't in the room and you had to describe me, how would you describe me? He said, spunky. I said, I'll take that. He said, witty. I think he said that only because I probably asked for a raise a couple times. That's when I was witty. He said, creative. I love that. That's awesome. So then I was trying to go through and figure out what are the things that you might find interesting about me. I'm the 8th out of 9 kids from the cutest dang couple you've ever seen. Good old Irish Catholic. I take performance driving lessons. I will be in Salt Lake City, Utah next month, October, and taking some amazing classes on that, and I've already taken quite a few different lessons, so there's my love for the adrenaline. I've taken ultralight flying lessons. If you haven't ever done that, you need to. You're shaking your head. You're like, yes, you need to do it. It is amazing, better than any roller coaster out there. I'm scared to death of spiders, like I've already said. I have 3 children and 3 grandchildren that are amazing, but I might be biased. Speaking of spontaneous, I had 3 kids. There you go. I held my private investigator's license, which was a whole nother story, which was crazy. I could go on and on about that one. I put myself through college by picking up shoplifters at Joski's, if y'all remember Joski's. That was a ton of fun. Nobody ever expected me to do that. And a few other things about me. I can ice skate backwards very quickly. For any of you that were up north, you know that is an amazing quality to have in my hockey realm when I was growing up. I think other than that, I want you to know about some charities that I'm involved with. St. Jude's Ranch, Alzheimer's, and my grandson has cystic fibrosis, and anything time you can give to cystic fibrosis, it'll give him one more day. So I am Teresa Hernandez, and it's so nice to meet you all. Thank you so much.
Wonderful presentation. Now we know just a little bit. Hopefully we can hear more about that private investigator thing. Lots of speeches are given in Toastmasters. Maybe we can get more detail from that. Our second speaker, we don't have anything to write on, do we? For notes, for...
Yeah, we do. She's an evaluator form.
No, I mean little notes that everybody writes there. It takes a minute.
Oh yeah. No, we don't have those.
Someday in the future, we will have little note cards that we can vote on for best speaker and best table topics and best evaluator, and we also have little notes that we can write for each speaker. So each one of us can write notes to the speaker, what we liked about it, things that they might want to work on, that sort of thing. And we would take a minute after their presentation and let everybody write a note, and then I had to introduce the next one. So I took that minute, even though we didn't use it, to help work on your acumen for how a Toastmasters meeting should run. Having done that minute, our next prepared speech, Michael Horns is going to talk to us about proper preparation prevents poor performance. And this is going to be nice because he's been preparing for this speech 20 to 25 minutes at least.
Yeah, ish. Thank you very much. Thank you, Toastmasters. Good evening. I would like to start off by saying that one of the things that I would love to do most in my life, and I have been preparing for this for a long time, is to hire 2 private investigators to follow each other. I just want to see what happens.
That would be awesome.
Yes. Okay, so tonight I wanted to talk about proper preparation prevents poor performance. This is a thing that my brother taught me, who was in the restaurant business, and it's got him through his entire working career, and it's helped me along the way on mine. I do not do it well on a daily basis, but I always think about it in the morning, and I think about how that's going to affect the rest of my day. So a couple of things I want to talk about are your style of preparation for speaking. Since we're talking about Toastmasters, let's do proper preparation, preventing poor performance in your speaking styles, right? So is it important for you to prepare your remarks in a written format, or is it more important for you to rehearse those in a public setting? I work in government. I have to speak at this very podium on a daily basis. Don't worry about it. So if everybody could silence their phones.
I don't know how I got triggered. That was weird.
So I am a poor writer. I do not write very well. I know that about myself. So I like to rehearse by standing up and saying what I have to say over and over again. This worked for me when I was also a musician when I was younger. I was a drummer. I couldn't read music, so I had to learn all the parts. I would do them over and over and over again until I knew them. Now that's my style. Whatever your style is, if you would prefer to write and you read through that speech, that's dependent on who you are and what you like, right? So that's the first part of what I like to work on, whether that's preparing your remarks or rehearsing your speech in a more vocal oratorial style, I guess. And then what is your actual style of speaking? Do you feel so nervous about standing up somewhere without a piece of paper in your hand and you're gonna have to talk for 5 minutes? Used to scare the absolute bejesus out of me. Bejesus being a bad word to use while you're speaking in a Toastmasters session. Or do you feel more comfortable with those remarks right in front of you and you're speaking down to them? Because I think a lot of times what you have to determine is what's most important. Is the environment more important that they get the idea of what you're trying to get across, the emotion of what you're trying to get across, or is it most important that they understand the content of everything inside your speech? Depending on what the answer to that question could dictate which way you need to direct your style for that day. I love speaking off the cuff. I also deal with Texas law, and so that's a really bad idea a lot of times, because if I don't get that exactly right, that may change the outcome of a setting, and that may mean that I spend more time talking to my lawyer, which I don't like doing, although she's a very nice woman. Right. So figuring out which style of speech is most comfortable to you, I think is important. I would also say putting yourself in a scenario where you are made uncomfortable is also one of the best things that you could do for yourself, and to get you out of that mindset that I'm so scared I would rather be in the coffin than be the person up there talking, right? So this is a wonderful thing, and I think it's great that we're all here doing this. And that really is my last point, is being uncomfortable in uncomfortable situations. I was at home last night, and for a moment I got to sit down and watch TV after I put my kids to bed. I did the laundry, and no, that's all BS. My wife did all those things. I fell down on my couch because I was exhausted, and I turned the TV on, and the movie Larry Crown was on. There's an actor named Tom Hanks who starred in that movie, and it's about a class who's learning about public speaking. And in the beginning of that, they are all really terrible at what they're doing. And they go through this process, and it seems as though everyone gets better at being comfortable in those uncomfortable situations by practicing that, by being in a setting with folks who are like them, who want to figure out how to be better at what they're doing, and they work through that uncomfortability to get better at what they're doing. So I would impress upon all of you that being uncomfortable is a wonderful way to grow. And this is indicative of that very thing, because this scares the bejesus out of me to be standing up here in front of people, and I do it on a daily basis. So anyway, proper preparation would include the following things. Be uncomfortable. right? Prepare yourself in whatever way suits you the best, and then figure out who your audience is, and figure out if you want to dictate notes to them, or if you want to speak off the cuff. And with that, thank you.
Again, more acumen for us to load on to what we're,
Oh, God.
for what we're learning in this in this club, and especially what we're learning tonight. Can I get a timer's report for our two speakers?
Teresa was at 5 minutes 44 seconds, and Michael was at 5 minutes 22 seconds.
Very good, both qualified. Well done. Now we start the impromptu speaking portion of our meeting, and our table topics master tonight is Shankar Ponsali.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Dear Toastmasters, impromptu speaking is my favorite part of the meeting. It's really a part of the meeting where everybody gets a chance to show their speaking acumen, because you cannot be prepared. You have to come up with what you want to say at the moment, in the moment. Now, I have questions that were prepared by Ray Sanchez, who was initially scheduled to do this. He could not make it, but he did send those questions over to me. I will not do the favor to you by giving you the question in advance, nor will I ask for volunteers. Very good.
Yeah.
Let's step it up a little bit today. The first question I want
No, not me.
Justine to answer
Okay.
is, how has failure shaped your life? How has failure shaped your life, Justine?
Hello, everyone. Hello. And thank you for having me up here. As far as failure goes, I am a perfectionist, and I like to do everything to the best of my ability. And failure is not something that I would take easily. So it doesn't matter if it is something that I'm not used to or something that's new to me. I will do everything and anything that I can do to overcome the issue that I'm faced with. There's one situation in an insurance where I wouldn't consider it a failure, but it almost was, as far as winning a client over. And there was another agent that had prepared the same quote for a prospect. And I found out that the information that they were giving the customer was incorrect. So I stayed up all night reading the underwriting guidelines and making sure that I was doing everything correctly before I pointed out all of the 10 things that were not correct. So that, just being faced with that, kind of reminded me of the acumen involved in dealing with somebody's business or something important to them. And I felt like it was just a reminder of that, just staying on top of everything that I have to do, and also the amount of integrity that goes along with what we do every day as far as protecting people's assets and their businesses and whatnot. So it just taught me a little bit more about what is important, and that no matter what, you have to have integrity in everything that you do. And failure to me would have been giving in and saying, okay, I'm not gonna mess with it, let's let the guy who's cheating, take over. And that's basically failure in a nutshell. Thank you.
Thank you, Justine. Speaking of integrity, if you ever look for an agent with integrity, I vouch for Justine personally. John, what is the greatest lesson you have ever learned in life?
I'm going to kind of take on a little bit about the last subject, which is failure, because the greatest lessons I've ever learned in my life come from my failures. I have owned 5 businesses in my lifetime. I now own 1 and it's brand new. The greatest lesson I ever learned in my life is failing does not make you a failure. Failing makes you stronger, but you got to learn how to learn from it. One of the greatest quotes I ever heard is, wisdom comes from failure, and those who don't fail never gain wisdom. So that's the greatest lesson I've ever learned in my life. Through the years, I have been able to grow every time I've messed up, and I'm really good at messing up. So being able to learn from your mistakes, being able to grow from those mistakes, and being able to swallow your pride and turn to the people around you, maybe a mentor, a peer, anyone like that. Do not be afraid to ask for help, even if it's nothing more than a suggestion. So part of that greatest lesson I've learned in life is you also have to swallow your pride. I was a very, very, very prideful person growing up. And it took me until I was in my mid-30s to learn to swallow my pride, learn from my failures, and be able to excel and succeed, because I'm able to now accept that I'm not going to be perfect. Never will be. Now, you can do things perfectly, but another part of that greatest lesson in my life is you will never be perfect. Now, you can practice perfectly, you can execute perfectly, but you will never be perfect. And as a perfectionist at heart, that's one of the hardest lessons to learn. But once you can accept it, it's also one of the greatest. Don't be afraid to fail. Fear of failure keeps you from succeeding. But once you do fail, be willing to learn from that failure. And once you do learn from that failure, move on, do better, be different, and excel.
Very well said, John. I like this idea of failing forward in life. And I think as Toastmasters, we do that at every meeting. I highly encourage people to step out of their comfort zone, as Michael has alluded to, because it really forces you to fail forward. And with such a supportive group as this one, it is really a very safe space to do that. Donna, what is the most important lesson you have learned from a teacher, and how has that impacted your life?
All right. Thank you for putting me on the spot. My name is Donna Lauder, and again, I am not shy. I am not a lot of things. But one thing I did have was a favorite teacher. It was in 3rd grade. Miss Austin was her name. And Miss Austin was taking me in under her wing after moving from all over the United States, all over the South America. I was speaking broken English, broken Spanish, and Arabic. And so as a 1st grader, I came to her class writing right to left, because I was trying to do that in Arabic. I was writing the word "the" in Spanish instead of "the." Some of the simplest things I had to relearn because I was now in the States, which had not lived there for, of course, 6 to 7 years. So she taught me kindness. She taught me patience. As a mother, you use all of those things. You don't have any favorites, but I knew Miss Austin, I was her favorite. I got to eat special things at lunch that she would bring in her lunch kit, and she did take a lot of time from after school advice, and sitting the boys away from me because they all kind of came around me. And so I learned that she was kind and to be kind to others. I was also taught by her, again, patience and how to help others. I hope that as an adult and as a mother, I have taken some of those qualities and taught them to my children. After this weekend, having my grandson's birthday party, I did show and see a lot of kindness from my daughters. I hope that you guys see that in me, and if I don't, please tell me that I've been unkind to you, because I would like to learn from my mistakes and my failures and be a better person. Thank you, Ms. Austin. Truth is a real person. It wasn't made up.
Was that 21 years ago?
That was 21 years ago. I'm very young.
Harlan, looking at the time, do we have time for one more?
Yes, sir.
All right. Michelle, when you were on your way to the meeting a little late, what were you thinking about in the car?
Well, I like to be prompt and on time, so having delayed with patient care, I get kind of anxious and a little edgy, and I get to where sometimes I'll feel like maybe I cannot be on time because of work related, and it's kind of irritated me to where I feel that I can't perform and do this because I really want to, and I think my work is now interfering with it, so I get kind of upset. And that goes along for everything now. I like to be on time and prompt.
That's it? Thank you all for your impromptu speaking acumen tonight. I will hand it back to the Toastmasters.
My time up here will be short-lived, and I probably won't use the word acumen more than one time up here.
And that was it.
Our next phase is the evaluation phase, very critical to Toastmasters. Harlan Pickett will come up here and run the evaluate as the general evaluator.
Thank you, Jerry. Certainly appreciate it. All right, so let's jump right into it. Our first evaluator is Andrea. Andrea, you want to come on up here and tell us what you thought about Teresa's speech tonight?
Okay, Teresa, thank you so much for using the last part of your speech to talk about the charities that you were passionate about, and for using your personal family, including that. You clearly possess good personal acumen and good business acumen because you are a businesswoman and you are savvy. You're involved in sales, but you're also personal, and that came across in your speech. You gave us a well-rounded view of yourself by using other people in your life, using their eyes kind of to express to us what other people think about you, and that was a beautiful thing. So now we have a better picture of you through your family and through your friends and through some of the personal anecdotes. In terms of your clarity, it was clear. Everyone understood what you were saying. Your enunciation was great. It was clear. For your vocal variety, when you were getting into the person of some of your friends and family, you did use their voices, you even threw in a wink. And that was good, that was good. It let us get in, kind of into the shoes of the people that are closest to you, near and dear to your heart. You had great eye contact. I saw you looking around the room and making eye contact with people, and they were very engaged throughout your speech. Your gestures. So something that you could work on, your gestures were great. You were using the room a little bit. You were rocking at the beginning, but then as you began to get more comfortable as your speech went on, you kind of paced a little bit over from this side of that, and that was good. The thing about Realia is when you use it, when you have it in your hands, you want to do something with it, right? So if you have a pen, maybe you want to write or draw. Otherwise, it's probably used for nervousness. Maybe you would clutch it, but you could just put it down, and then that would open you up to be able to use your hand a little bit more. And
Almost 2 minutes.
okay, I think that's all I have time for. Maybe a couple more things. Yeah, your audience awareness was good. You were engaged, and you seemed quite comfortable. But again, that's, I think, also a part of what you do, that personal acumen and the business acumen kind of combined. And it was interesting. So we all learned a little bit more about who you are. Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you.
I made a couple of comments myself that I'm just going to share with you. I thought it was very great information. I thought it was very interesting that you used other people's point of view, just the same thing Andrea said. Very different concept. I liked it very much. And then I felt you were very relaxed. You were clearly just telling us a story about yourself. And if we can't be relaxed there, folks, where can we be relaxed, right? I really enjoyed it, Teresa. Thank you very much. We're going to jump right to number 2. And thank you very much, Donna, for volunteering to do this today. I think it's interesting you decided to do a, let me see, it's your boss, right? So let's see. She picked it first.
I appreciate that, but as you know, and Mr. Shankar can attest, he was not my speaker that was initially assigned to me, so all of that is null and void.
I would like to articulate that we have already said that this is a safe place.
But if I have a job tomorrow morning, I have had the honor and privilege to not only work with him during the day and weeks since June 4th or so, 7th, around my birthday. That was how I mark his time with the city. But I have watched him speak many times, and I was able to see some improvement. I have talked to Michael about several of his little quirks that he does, which I'm sure he will tomorrow tell me about mine. I don't know why, I'm never nervous in front of people, but tonight, for whatever reason, I'm nervous. But I thank you in your speech for providing us with communication tips that I think we can all walk away with. You gave us some tips, of course, from your experience of talking in front of government bodies and in your job. Your clarity of speech was absolutely great. I do see sometimes his volume goes up and down in our meetings, so he's worked on that during these classes and has improved. I saw much improvement on that. Again, he usually drops his voice where I can't even hear him on the mic, so when I'm looking and listening to minutes, I have to tell him I can't hear him. So you did great on that. Thank you. You moved around the room. You made eye contact. You were using arm and hand gestures in just that perfect amount. We had nothing but just humor throughout the whole thing. We love that. It's not boring. It kept our attention. We learned a lot about speaking tips through that. A little discomfort I saw through him, and that this happens a lot with him. He was breathing a little bit heavy, and that's the only time I saw a little bit of nervousness. Otherwise, he's a pro. I love him dearly, and again, if I have a job tomorrow, my office is the first step when you come in. Just say hi, okay? But anyway, we do appreciate you. You did great. Your ratings were pretty high for me. Again, I am your favorite. And I'm so glad I got to do this for you.
Maybe not true nepotism, but pretty damn close.
Listen, it was all peanut butter and jelly.
You did an excellent job. I enjoyed it too. It definitely was something you could tell that you had a passion for, because you were able to put it together in just a few minutes. So that right there says a whole lot about you, sir. That you'd step up for the group, and that you were not afraid to stand up here and share something, and even make your time. That's one of the things. That's part of it, right? For it to even count, you've got to be able to make that time. And now I have to ask a question for some of our leadership, because we have the tabletop folks that also get evaluated, correct? No?
You can evaluate the table topics master, but you can,
Okay.
I mean, if you have something to say, feel free.
No, it wasn't necessarily that. I want to make sure that
Yeah.
they didn't get left
It's
out.
not
if I
a
was
form-
supposed to
it's
ask,
not
I
a
didn't have
formal.
anything on my form.
Yeah, it's not a formal, they don't get a formal evaluation.
Okay. So I did want to just touch on a couple of things. Donna, on yours, I love the personal story that you held there. You clearly, like you said, you didn't make up anybody. It was somebody that was real. Okay. If I would have been in your shoes, I would have had to tell the story about Miss Massey and how she taught me that at halfway through the school day, 3 hours into it, you don't crawl out the window and go home. I was done. This is the first day of school. I had 3 hours. I gave him plenty of time, right? I'm done. Heading to the house. I could walk to my house, and I did. Hey, that's where it is. All right, so timer. We need to get the official timer on all the folks, please.
I gave Teresa and Michael's, but Teresa was at 5:44 and Michael was at 5:22. Justine was 2 minutes and 21 seconds. John was at 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Donna was at 1 minute and 56 seconds. Michelle was at 50 seconds. And then Andrea was 2 minutes and 24 seconds. And then Donna's evaluation was, on Michael was 2 minutes and 8 seconds.
Okay. All right, great. All right, do I go ahead and do the whole evaluation of the meeting at this